The New York Jets lost to the New England Patriots for the 15th straight time, tying an NFL record for the most consecutive losses to a singular opponent, tying the Chiefs and Broncos. That's an active streak, by the way. This is the New York Jets Boy Green Heavy on Jets post-game show. Let's get this thing started. Let's roll. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Hey, everybody, my name is Paul Leston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. We're streaming live in 3 different places. The Heavy on Jets Facebook page to 37,000 New York Jet fans. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25. And, of course, on Twitter as well, at BoyGreen25 as well. And, guys, this is disgusting. There's just no other way to put it. Absolutely foul is how I feel about this game. It just 15 straight losses to the same opponent over and over again. It's just brutal, guys. Absolutely brutal. So feel free to get involved. There is the Cam 631 laser hotline. I just pinned that to the top of the YouTube channel. If you guys would like to get involved in the show, we'll be doing that in a few minutes. I'll be kind of ranting here on a few Jets nuggets, but if you are watching, that is pinned on our YouTube channel. Also, if you're on the Heavy on Jets Facebook page as well, you can click and join that video link. Again, that is the Cam 631 laser hotline to get involved on the show. I'll throw that up on the screen what that looks like. Again, the Cam 631 laser hotline, where you guys could get involved on the show. For more info, visit cam at 631laser.com for some cool custom New York Jets laser engraving. We'll get to all you guys in a second, so if you'd like to hop on the video show, feel free to do so and jump in on the show here. But, man, Zach Wilson was atrocious. The offensive play calling was atrocious. They couldn't run the ball. And the defense, I mean, they gave up one busted play, obviously. But that was the only, points that they gave up in the game. That was the only points they gave up in the game was that busted play. And, Zach Wilson gave them 2. There was the field goal, a couple of missed field goals as well in this. But brutal, an absolutely brutal, disgusting loss. When you see across town, a couple towns over, you see the Miami Dolphins drop 70 friggin' points, and the Jets muster 10? And then they show, you want to know what was one of the more frustrating parts, is the end of the game, they show signs of life like, hey, here we are. We're like, whoa, where was that the rest of the game? Well, that's all right. Like, win it. And they had a chance. Randall Cobb was right there for a potential Hail Mary. Imagine those headlines. Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Hail Mary-esque. He gets those vibes going. They win the game in stunning fashion and end the streak. Would have been cool. But I'm not serving moral cookies at this dinner table. Hell no. Absolutely not. There's no moral cookie to take from this. The Jets blew it. They had chances, they had opportunities, and they simply couldn't deliver. There's absolutely no moral cookies I'm giving out on this show. No, sir. They just didn't get the job done, and that's incredibly frustrating. Disgusting. And by the way, for those curious, maybe we'll play a few of those bites here on the postgame show. Robert Saleh, Zach Wilson is his guy. He absolutely refused any of the Tim Boyle questions and said he will not be getting any first-team reps in practice or anything. He reiterated that Zach Wilson is the best guy for the job. That was Robert Saleh after the game. Robert Saleh after the game there. So the Zach Wilson train continues, and it was frustrating to watch. Absolutely frustrating to watch. Like, hear these numbers, man. He's 15-10. I mean, this is disgusting. And it was 10-3 for a little while. Here it is. Here are the Zach Wilson numbers. 18 of 36. That's a 50% completion percentage. 4.4 yards per pass. I mean, that's disgusting. 157 passing yards. Gross. Sacked 3 times, 61 QBR. They couldn't run the ball lick. Brees Hall, 12 carries, 18 yards. Dalvin Cook, 8 carries, 18 yards. Brutal. They got Garrett Wilson involved a little bit at the end. 5 catches, 48 yards, but that's not Garrett Wilson numbers. He had 9 targets, should have had more. Brees Hall fumbles, thankfully jumps back on top of it. There where it was getting sloppy. Man. This is like, man, we were supposed to win this. The Patriots have a worse roster. The Jets have a better team, but it didn't matter because the Jets got outcoached and they simply got outclassed when it mattered the most. That's frustrating. You know what? The Jets in week 4, they play the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. If the Chiefs beat the Jets, which I would imagine is very likely based on all those prognostications, we'll get into the specifics later. But if the Chiefs beat the Jets, I think we could all say, well, they're the Chiefs. You can't say that about the Patriots. They were on the brink. To use a boxing analogy, they're leaning in the corner and just, the first week, Eagles, poof, 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 couple of body shots. Okay. Last week, the Dolphins, douche, douche, douche. They're up against the ropes. They're 0-2. They're wobbling. You ever played Rumble to boxing on Nintendo 64 and they're kind of hanging there and all they need is one more shot to send that sucker down and the ref's going to start the 10 count? That's where New England was, leaning on the ropes. The Jets had a chance to sucker punch those bastards and send them crashing down to the canvas. And they coulda, shoulda, woulda been 0-3. And they traveled to Dallas next week for week 4, where the Dallas Cowboys perhaps could have given them the final kill shot to put them at 0-4, which would have put their odds of going to the playoffs and everything else in dire straits. Yet, the Jets blew it. They had chances, they had opportunities, and they just couldn't do it. 3 and outs, non-creative play calling. Where's Mecole Hardman? Where are these guys? Where's Garrett Wilson? More Garrett Wilson. More Brees Hall creatively. Finding ways to get them the football. Nathaniel Hackett. What the hell, man? Just disgusting. Zach Wilson throwing short of the sticks. Disgusting. Not being able to make things happen on a consistent basis. The Patriots were down multiple of their top corners, but it didn't even matter. They couldn't do jack diddly. Ugh. So Hackett's been terrible. Zach Wilson was awful. They can't run the football. They can't get the ball to Garrett Wilson. And defensively, anytime they have a chance for a turnover, they just can't find a way to do it, to secure it. It happened week 1. There was 4 of them. That was awesome. But we can't just keep resting on the laurels of week 1. You got to move on. That game's over. Now we're going to be heading unbelievably into week 4. We're already 3 games in the books on this season. Those are done. They are finished. Terrible. Absolutely god awful. I'll play a couple of clips here from Saleh. And, well, how about this? This should fire you up. Here's Zach Wilson after the game. He was asked to give a message to the fans. Let's hear from Zach Wilson. I have all these clips in my Twitter account, @BoyGreen25, if you guys would like. So here we go. Here's Zach Wilson.
What would you say to Jet fans? You heard a lot of boos today. What would you say to them?
Yeah, keep believing, man. I truly believe we got the guys. We're going to keep doing everything we can to get better. We understand the frustrations. It's not fun to go 3 and out. It's not fun to not establish drives and play football and score touchdowns. Like, we understand that. And so, we're doing everything we can. We're going to get better.
Zach Wilson says we're going to get better. He says, we're going to figure it out. He says, I understand the frustration with 3 and outs and establishing drives, and keep believing, man. And I'm the optimist here, obviously, as I've said before on this show. I am an eternal optimist, but it is just hard, very, very hard right now to have optimism with what we've seen thus far. And Robert Saleh said we are sticking with Zach Wilson. There's a couple of different clips on this. We can play them all here. Here is Robert Saleh was asked if he could lose the locker room by sticking with Zach Wilson. And he was also asked about the rumors. In case you guys missed it earlier today, we'll probably have a show on this tomorrow for Boy Green Daily. There was a report from Jay Glazer of NFL on Fox that veterans Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan, who are both veteran free agents, reportedly reached out to the Jets to say, hey, if you guys need a quarterback, we're interested. And apparently Jets told those 2 guys, nah, we're good. We got Zach Wilson. And Robert Saleh was asked to address those rumors out there from Jay Glazer on top of could they lose the locker room by sticking with Zach Wilson. Here's Robert Saleh on both those things.
Robert, do you get any sense that you may lose your locker room if you stick with Zach at quarterback? And could you address the reports that Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan, you turned them down an opportunity to come?
No, I'm not worried about the locker room. We got a great locker room. They'll be fine. And as for the other stuff, I'm not going to address them.
Robert Saleh refusing to address the Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan rumors that seem to be out there on them potentially offering their services to the Jets. Robert Saleh simply not doing that. Also, here's something. This is kind of interesting. Again, we could probably get into this more later into the week, but the Jets had offensive line bingo with Dwayne Brown going from, oh, he's definitely going to play against the Patriots. Absolutely. To, well, he's out. Oh, okay. So he's out for this game. Wait a second. He's on IR, missing minimum 4 weeks. Whoa. What the hell happened? What was the transition there from, oh, he's definitely playing. Okay, he's out. Okay, he's out for 4 weeks. Like, what the heck? Apparently, Robert Saleh knew about this all week. They had been cross-training Elijah Vera-Tucker for the past 3 weeks at offensive tackle because, of course, Dwayne Brown is old as hell, and Mekhi Becton's coming off his surgery, and hell, even Dwayne Brown's coming off his surgery. So they've been preparing for this possible scenario. They did not know they would have had to break the glass for this Patriots game. So let's hear from Robert Saleh on the musical chairs in the offensive line room. Here is Saleh on that.
Can you walk us through the offensive line this week?
Yeah, we were practicing the way we aligned this week. That's the way we were practicing all week. We've been cross training ABT to play right tackle. Just because of the fact that with the Kai coming off the injury and Dwayne coming off an injury also, we had to have somebody ready, and so we were prepared for this 3 weeks ago, and unfortunately we had to use it, but we were ready for it.
Yeah, they were ready for it. There was, again, Robert Saleh on the offensive line conversation, the musical chairs that were happening there. We'll go through a couple more. So we've got a YouTube super chat in again. Also, guys, if you are joining us, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, I don't think it's available on Twitter. We have a pinned link on top of our YouTube channel. If you'd like to join the Cam 631 Laser video hotline, where you could join me live on the show, share your reactions, also vent about the New York Jets loss to the New England Patriots. Feel free to use that. That is brand new this season, so we can interact with one another. So, guys, that video link is up there. To appear on the show, again, you have to have a working camera and basically not be in some noisy-ass place, and we can get you here on the show to share your thoughts. So feel free to utilize that as well here on the program. Josina Anderson asked, why is Robert Saleh so definitive? So we're kind of going in reverse chronological order with playing some of these clips because Robert Saleh was asked about Zach Wilson earlier, and he was emphatic that Zach Wilson is his guy and he's the best guy for the job. Josina Anderson asked him, why is he so definitive? In fact, that, again, Zach Wilson is his guy. Here is Josina Anderson's question plus Saleh's response.
What happened
Yeah, here we go.
Zach remaining starter without, you still have the opportunity to look at the film, get the pulse of the team, talk to your coaches. Why you said, yeah, he's fine? Why is it so definitive?
Right now, Zach is the best player he's who gives us the best chance to win. And, so that's basically that would be the cleanest answer I could give you.
Again, he says Zach Wilson is the best guy for the job. That one of Robert Saleh for who they have available. Interesting. Nonetheless, very interesting. And here it is. This will be the last clip we play from Robert Saleh's postgame. There was 2 questions here. Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic asked Robert Saleh if Zach Wilson has shown him enough to remain the starting quarterback. And then a follow-up question from Antoine Staley of the New York Daily News saying, when do you pull the plug so the season isn't lost? Like, you can't just stick with Zach Wilson if he continues to struggle. When do you pull the plug? Here are both of those answers. Again, Zach Rosenblatt and Antoine on the questions. Here we go.
Zach shown you enough to keep him as the starter going
Yeah,
forward?
he's fine. That's not a question.
At what point do you just decide maybe, you don't want to let the season get away from you? So do you continue to go, like if it continues to go in this bad direction?
We're still early in the season. We knew that even with Aaron at quarterback, we knew that there was going to be some hiccups along the way because of the new offense, new play caller, new O-line, new just new players all over the offense side of the ball, and now you've got this curveball that was sent to us, and so there's they're acclimating and they're going to get better, and but it's still very early in the season.
He says it's too early in the season to potentially even be thinking about that. And if you missed the answer under his breath on the Zach Wilson, as you showed him enough to remain the starting quarterback, he said, yeah, he's fine. That's not a question. Those comments from Robert Sala. Wow. A lot to unpack there. Let's get to the YouTube super chat. That one just coming in. Let me throw it in here. And it's from our guy, Cam631 Laser, which, by the way, again, the video hotline is available for any of you Jet fans that want to get in and want to hop on the show. I'd love to hear from you. What do you believe about this team? Again, Cam631 Laser, thank you so much for the YouTube super chat. Zach isn't throwing quick enough. 2 to 2.5 seconds. That ball needs to be out. You could see the frustration with Zach in the other players. Yeah, I'm going to be blunt. I've kind of been up and down on the Zach Wilson train. He's a guy, I was probably the last one of the bandwagon last year, and then now I'm off it a little bit earlier than before. He was just holding the ball too damn long. And really, the most comfortable Zach Wilson has looked is in these 2-minute drills where they're not huddling and he's just going. He's just firing. That's where Zach Wilson's looked good. If I'm Nathaniel Hackett, I'm like, wow, if we're really sticking with Zach Wilson here, not going to go add another quarterback outside the room, then let's get Zach Wilson in more no-huddle situations. We give him the opportunity to kind of wheel and deal here and not have these training wheels. Because when it's training wheels and you're doing this stupid stuff with running right into them, and then we're never passing on first down. We got that a little bit later in the game. Like, very predictable. That's what Joe Namath, quite frankly, was calling out on social media during the game. Way too predictable. Again, Zach Wilson, he didn't look great at all today, but if you're going to nitpick and say where he looked good, he didn't have a turnover, but he also didn't really gamble. Like in those 2-minute situations, that's where you're seeing some money throws. The cover 2 throw to Alan Lazard, the throw to Conklin. Like you saw a couple of throws where you're like, oh, okay, there's Zach Wilson. There's some dimes being served. That's where they need to get him. That's where he's most comfortable. And I'd like to see that moving forward if he's going to have a chance. Up next is Sunday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions. You got to get in the bag, man. That stupid crap conservative training wheels ain't going to work against the Kansas City Chiefs. You're going to have to score some points. Now, your Jets defense hopefully is up to the challenge of an incredible offense coming in, but I'm seeing them blowing out the Chicago Bears right now. You got to have a backbone. You got to have some chutzpah where you're stepping up to the plate. But that to me is it. Like, let's try to see if we can make some things happen. Thank you, Cam631 Laser, for the YouTube super chat. All right, let's get some comments in here. Let's see. I'm just going to kind of go all over the place random here. We got a lot of comments from you guys. Again, feel free to use the Cam631 Laser hotline. Would love to have somebody, would love to have one of you guys on the show. At this point, wow, from Monty. At this point, I'd rather us flat out release Zach, at least to show this team and the fans that management admits its mistake and isn't going to just be the same old Sergeant. That's just not going to happen, Monty. Again, you could not like Zach. You could not like how he's performed. There is a negative percent chance you're going to cut him. First off, from a financial perspective. And number two, Robert Saleh isn't even willing to give QB1 reps to Tim Boyle in practice. And he's the only other quarterback on the team. So you would cut Zach and then have Tim Boyle, and then what? I don't know, man. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Please, no more Zach Wilson. A lot of anti-Zach Wilson here. Yep. Christopher on our Facebook page, with Casey in Philadelphia in the next 3 weeks, the fat lady is singing early. What a disaster. Unreal. Yeah. So week 4, Sunday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs. Week 6 is the Philadelphia Eagles. And sandwich in between is a week 5 road trip to Denver. Now, I know they just got a 70 burger put on them, which is wild to say out loud. They're going to be a desperate team too. So there's no gimmies. That's for sure. No gimmies. So they're going to have to come up with some answers quick. Steve Kirk, fire Hackett. Here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers wants to come back next year. And Nathaniel Hackett's like his best buddy. I don't think a Hackett firing is coming, honestly. I would be surprised. And I think he's obviously going to get an opportunity to work himself out of the Kings because, again, the plan was him and Aaron Rodgers. And 3 games in with the quote-unquote backup quarterback coming in, I think they're going to give him a lot more leash than that, to be honest. So, no, Steve, I do not see that. I do not see that. Do I take a halfback pass? Like, throw it to the halfback to throw it to another guy? I don't know if they would have done any trickery. Although that, again, Mecole Hardman would have been a nice splash to include. But I do think something on the passes on first downs, I think play action. Some of those drag routes, they had Lazard on that one on the left, but Zach had already rolled out right. I wish he would have stuck in the pocket and not bailed because that one was open. But yeah, I would have been open to getting them in space. Like the play I keep thinking about in my head is the Dolphins game from week 5 last year, where you kind of got Brees Hall on the wheel and Zach kind of delivered it to him in stride and you get him in space. Like, I think that's how you unlock Brees Hall. I think that's how you get Brees Hall to another level of getting him in space. When you're just running him against a rock where there's 20 guys in the box, there's just not much success to be had there. I think we're silently tanking with Zach. Here's the thing, though, on the tanking conversation, which I think is ridiculous. The team is too talented. If you get one of those top picks, what do you do? Because it's a quarterback-rich draft, and if you go through the season, and fans already have a lot of confirmation of this, they don't believe Zach Wilson's a guy. You have Aaron Rodgers coming back from 40. It would be a disservice for you not to take a quarterback. It would, but also Aaron Rodgers wants to win a Super Bowl now, so does a quarterback help you? Like, man, that's a complicated question. I can't believe we're already talking about tanking in week 3. Not ideal, Bob. Not ideal. Fire everyone and trade Zach. Yeah, Joe Namath, we have that article up on Heavy on Jets. He said, hey, man, if this team doesn't start to improve, it's time to look at the head coach and GM. Obviously, talking about Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. I don't know who you could trade Zach to in the middle of the season. And also, they don't seem to have any answers, obviously, at quarterback at this point. Again, do they make an aggressive trade for Kirk Cousins? They just dropped 0-3 today. Maybe. When would the Vikings hit the eject button? What would you have to pay to make the Vikings hit the eject button? So that's a difficult conversation. That is a very difficult conversation. That's a very difficult conversation. I see we're about to have somebody jumping in the green room. Again, I will remind you guys, if you'd like to join the Cam 631 Laser hotline, which is a video call-in line, guys, if you'd like to join the show, feel free to click that link, and it'll put you in my green room. I can see you down here, and once you're cleared, we can bring you up on the show. I believe we have our first customer here on the show today, and how interesting that the first person on the Cam 631 Laser hotline is, in fact, Cam 631 Laser. Let's bring him here on the show. What's happening, buddy?
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
I love the boy green shirt. That's very nice.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Yep, got to support Boy Green all the way.
I appreciate that. What's up, brother?
If the Jets wind up pulling Zach for a backup or actually a different starter if they sign one, is he done for good?
Yeah, I don't think there's any going back, quite frankly. As soon as you pull that move, and maybe that's why the Jets are so hesitant to do it, there's just no going back to Zach outside of injury, obviously, like stuff that happened late last year. Like they benched him after the New England fiasco in the postgame presser, and then Mike White gets hurt, and they're like, well, I guess we're going back to Zach. So in that scenario, I suppose you could go back to it. But once you make that move, like if you sign a Matt Ryan or a Carson Wentz, maybe they start off as a backup. But I would immediately think if you make a move of that magnitude, that we're talking about some serious mustard in the quarterback room of a change. And I think once you take that out, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle, so to speak, I believe.
That's my thoughts, too. My downside to all of this, year 1, Zach's quarterback coach died. Year 2, the O-line fell apart. Year 3, Aaron Rodgers goes out. I mean, the guy really had everything stacked against him from the beginning, but, you know, it's year 3. He's got to really put up some numbers.
Yeah, there's no question about it. You are correct. And I think sometimes we forget some of that stuff that when we evaluate Zach Wilson, the things that were supposed to happen did not for one reason or another. Again, supposed to sit out this year. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. He's immediately in. You have that situation, unfortunately, where his personal coach that's worked with guys like Steve Young and Michael Vick, and he has all this experience, unfortunately dies in a tragic accident. You know, when you take away some of those things, it's not ideal, but I guess life isn't ideal. Sometimes you get punched in the mouth with levels of adversity and you got to power through. And Zach, so far this season, obviously, and throughout his career so far, has not been able to power through, which has obviously been a deterrent for this entire team, which is incredibly unfortunate. Again, look at the rest of this roster. If Zach Wilson was just average, where they'd be right now.
Right. If he was average, we probably would have made the playoffs last year.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, again, there's a long season left, so we'll see if they can turn this puppy around. It will be difficult with two of the three next games are against the Super Bowl participants from February. It will prove difficult, no question about it, but they have an opportunity.
Right. Thanks for having me on, Paul.
Thanks, brother. There he is, Cam, part of the Cam 631 Laser hotline. For more information, make sure you guys visit Cam at 631 Laser. Some cool New York Jets custom laser engraving. We'll be giving some of that away this week, so make sure you guys are tuned into the channel. An awesome Jet fan for popping in there. So, okay, let's go to our next speed. We got a couple of people waiting here in the green room. Again, a reminder, the link is pinned to the top of YouTube. If you'd like to hop on the show, all I need to see is that your camera's on and that you're there, and we'll pop you up here on the show. So feel free to use the video call lines. Okay, we got a PJ here. Okay, PJ, what's up, brother?
What's up, Paul?
Hey, what's popping? What's on your mind, my friend?
You know, man, for one person I feel so sorry about this season, I feel bad for.
Who's that?
Garrett Wilson, man.
Oh, boy. That poor bastard. You saw him on the sideline. He's like, can you hook a brother up? Can you throw me a gosh darn ball? And it just seems no matter what. Again, he had a couple, 5 catches, 40 yards, somewhere in that ballpark. But just feed him the ball. Just more targets, man. And he thought he had Aaron Rodgers. That's the worst. He thought he had Aaron Rodgers. All of a sudden, Zach Wilson's like, son of a...
Yeah, me coming in season, I'm thinking he's going to bring Brandon Marshall's on receiving record, man. And it just,
I know. I felt it before the year, right? You're right. You had like 100, Brandon Marshall in that 2015 season, 100-something catches, 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns. I'm like, ooh, baby. I took Garrett Wilson my fantasy draft. I'm like, yes, sir. We're about to take over the world. And, well, they did.
Yeah, I mean, we got to secure a quarterback. So I'm afraid Garrett Wilson's going to get mad and stuff and want to leave.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, please, no. We can't have that. We can't. G-Dub, he's got to stay. He's got to lock it down. But you're right. Maybe if they keep sticking with Zach Wilson, he keeps like not getting the job done. Maybe Garrett's like, well, F this. But hopefully they go out and get somebody, although I guess the options are limited in the middle of the season, my man.
I have one more question. Do you think they should go
shoot.
Matthew Stafford?
Say that one more time.
Do you think they should go after Matthew Stafford?
Well, Matthew Stafford would be fun. The game is on Monday Night Football, their other game. So they've started out 1-1 on the season, that being the LA Rams. So, and I would imagine they're not favored. I don't know if they're favored right now, but heading into our Vegas picks on Friday, they were a 2-point underdog against the Bengals. But Joe Burrow may not play, so they could get to 2-1. The problem is, if the Rams totally suck, like the Vikings, they're 0-3. If they suck, all of a sudden, well, maybe we'll trade his ass. But the problem is that they're playing too damn good. That, man, the Jets would have to give some crazy Godfather offer to bring his ass in. But I like what you're thinking, Matthew Stafford. I thought that bastard was broken. I thought he was done so. But this season, he's looked really good. So, yeah, I would love a Matthew Stafford on this team. All of a sudden, hype back up the Super Bowl train, baby. So he's the kind of names you want to be talking about, though. That's sexy.
Yes, sir. Oh, thank you, Paul, for having me on.
Yeah, of course. PJ, appreciate you. Again, PJ joining us on the Cam 631 Laser hotline. For more information, make sure you guys visit Cam at 631laser.com. So keep popping up in the green room. That is pinned on YouTube. It's also the top comment on our Heavy on Jets Facebook page if you guys would like to hop in and get involved. I'll jump back into the comment section. We got a YouTube super chat coming in. Let me catch up on that. Let me scroll in. Of course, YouTube super chats. Skip the queue. Guarantee you get your comment answered here on the program. Let me see. Let me get up to the latest comment here on our Boy Green post-game show here on Heavy on Jets. Here we go. Axios joining us. I had to turn the TV off because my twins were so dehydrated from tears while watching Zach. I mean, I had to hit the bodega for electrolytes. Good Lord, have mercy, Axios. I mean, it was just brutal. I was here with my 1.5-year-old daughter. And when bad things were happening in the game, she came over and gave me a hug. And she can't really talk yet, just goo goo gaga da da, not a lot of verbiage happening there. But yeah, just and kind of came over and kind of waddled over and gave me a hug. And just kind of a pat on the back, like it's gonna be okay, pal. Like she can't talk yet like that, but that was basically the message. And I'm like, wow. But nonetheless, obviously, she is going to be a diehard Jets fan. There's no options. Of course, she has to be. She has to support the green brand. You get born into that sort of thing. There's just no discussion whatsoever. But it was incredibly sad that, I came into this Patriots game with some confidence, a little pep in my step. I'm like, we can do this. We can end the streak. And the streak continues now to an NFL record 15th loss in a row to a singular opponent in a row, which ties the Chiefs and Broncos. And I think my Patriot guy told me earlier, I think the Jets play the Patriots next in week 18, the final game of the season. So now we're going to have this dark cloud hanging over our head for the foreseeable future. Brutal. Disgusting. I hate that this streak is a thing. I hate the New England people. My fiance's from Massachusetts, all her family, and my mother. It's just too much New England. Just way too much New England. And it's disgusting. I don't know what else to say. It's absolutely putrid. And I have to deal with it all the time. And now I'm going to have to deal with this gosh darn stupid streak for the foreseeable future. So that's a cup of suck for those who care about what I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So she's doing the crying, my fiance, who, by the way, is not even a real fan. She just likes to be a fan when it doesn't matter. But that's neither here nor there, I suppose. But let's go through some more questions and comments. Again, I will continue to remind you guys about the 631 Laser Hotline. Feel free to get involved on that. I'd love to hear from more of you guys. Pop up on the show. That's what it's there for. I'd still even rather have Sean Payton after losing 70-20. Good night. Yeah, I'm not so sure. But don't think it would have been cool giving up a first-round pick. But, well, I guess when your first-round pick's Will McDonald and he's not doing anything, at least he was active this week. We got Rory saying, watching Andy Dalton right now, we would win that game with him. Earlier in the year, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, it had to have been after the injury. People said, oh, Jacoby Brissett. I'm like, come on, man. Jacoby Brissett doesn't put you in the Super Bowl conversation. Like, you want someone that can put you in that conversation. If you're going to, again, because I want a consequential difference at quarterback. Tim Boyle is not a consequential difference. Tim Boyle stinks. He's stunk historically. If you put him in over Zach Wilson, first off, that would annihilate the confidence of Zach Wilson if there's any left. And secondly, Tim Boyle, what does that even do for you? Spoiler alert, nothing. He stinks. So that is an inconsequential difference. Like Matthew Stafford, okay, that's consequential. Kirk Cousins, okay, that's consequential. You start dropping some. Is Carson Wentz or Matt Ryan? I don't know. Matt Ryan, half retired. He's in the booth. And Carson Wentz has been a locker room cancer everywhere he's been. So, I don't know if either of those options, quite frankly, tickle the interest. So, but, I mean, after that performance from Zach, I'm willing to chat. I'm willing to have some conversations. Unfortunately, that's how bad it was today, that you got to start considering other options because we are so early in the year. We just completed week 3 for the Jets, and there's a lot of season left to go. There is a nice back half stretch of teams like Washington, Atlanta, Houston, although some of those teams had good and bad performances. Washington got annihilated, but Houston looked really good against Jacksonville. So, again, there's no easy wins on the schedule. So we got to figure out what the hell is the answer at quarterback. Because I'm going to be honest, Zach Wilson, I've been a avid Zach Wilson supporter since he was drafted. He wasn't my initial choice immediately, but I grew on him when I spoke to some BYU coaches. I'm like, okay, I'm in. Zach Wilson, let's go. But after the Jaguars game last year and this game this time, I'm like, man, people are telling us that there have been developments, that Zach Wilson has looked different in practice, but we haven't seen it in the game. We've only seen it sporadically and spurty, not enough to make you go, oh yeah, baby, watch out, world. Here comes Zach Wilson. Toot, toot. No, sir. Not enough. Matthias says, I can't see this team not going 1-5, which, again, if that were to be the case ahead of the bye week, the only win would be Buffalo, and that would be 5 straight losses in theory to Dallas, New England, Kansas City, Denver, and then Philadelphia. That would be brutal. What a brutal way for this season to go after Super Bowl aspirations and expectations to a potential 1-5 in the bye. Ugh. No, thank you. Who's going to be the new head coach for the Jets? Here's the interesting thing. For the people that want Saleh gone and Zach Wilson gone and Joe Douglas gone, Aaron Rodgers wants to come back. If you blow up the whole train, the team the team of people that enticed Aaron Rodgers to come here in the first place, does he want to come back? So, like, you test the waters there where all of a sudden Aaron's like, I'm not so sure. I came here for Salah. I came here for Douglas. I came here for this team. If all of a sudden we start firing people, maybe that rocks his boat. So that's a very, those are choppy waters to enter. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. We'll hear because Roger's supposed to continue to join Pat McAfee on Tuesdays. We'll get to hear from him on a weekly basis on his perception of how things are going. And he seems to not be a BSer. He seems to be a pretty straight shooter on how he feels about things. So we'll see. Let's keep going here. Keep dropping in your comments, YouTube super chats. Again, the Cam 631 laser hotline. If you guys would like to jump on the show, feel free. Let me try to get here. I do not want to sell all hope to a 39-year-old, which would be the other thing, obviously. If you say, oh, wow, we'll be great next year with what would be at that time a 40-year-old quarterback, I would understand. Let's see. Up the offensive line. Yep. A lot of changes. Hate the Robert Saleh press conferences coming from Edward's son. Same BS every week. Yeah, not a lot of answers. Not a lot of good answers. Where the blank is Brownlee, he is inactive. He is a healthy scratch. I think Pat McAfee has a number. Oh, okay. Give Andrew Luck a call. Hey, I'm open to all options right now. I just saw him pop up. What was that, Thursday Night Football or something? Okay, Andrew. You're looking all colonial and whatnot? Yeah, sure, baby. Chris K. the fifth. Welp, at least we know all the Fairweather fans are long gone. Into the night we go. Still hopeful, I'm assuming, but change is needed, and this loss felt a bit like last year's against the Bengals. It felt worse than the Bengals. It felt Patriots, either one of them, although they were different in their own ways. It's just deflating when you know you're better than a team and you still lose. That just sucks. It freaking sucks. The Jets roster is better. Obviously, they got outcoached. And obviously, on the scoreboard, the Patriots won for the 15th straight time. But it's a bitter pill to swallow because the Patriots are not good. They were 0-2. And you can say, oh, we're a really good 0-2 team. I don't give a flying hoot about those labels. You stunk. Ugh, terrible. Tanking. We're already talking about tanking. This is disgusting, guys. Come on, man. I don't want to be talking about tanking. We just had Aaron Rodgers. I can't be on that tanking train. I'll be fired up for Sunday Night Football in a couple days. How could you not be? First time on Sunday Night Football in over a decade now. That would have been better with Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes facing off for the first time, but that's neither here nor there. Some other takeaways. Let's look through some of the numbers. Man, real quick on Dalvin. Yikes. Dalvin, man, he not looking good. Not looking good. Old Dalvin. A couple of times I'm screaming in the middle of the game. Like, plant your foot and freaking go, man. Like, you get a couple of ops. He's kind of like lollygagging. He tries this horizontal crap. Like, plant your foot and freaking go. Drive your feet and go. Runs, catches out of the backfield. Like, come on, Dalvin. What the hell, man? What the hell? Make a friggin' play, dude. Make a friggin' play. Frustrating. Incredibly frustrating from old Dalvin Cook. Disgusting. Like, dude, friggin' go. Go, go, go. Damn it. Like, what is going on there? You pay him all this money and left and right, and this is the Garbaggio? So Dalvin's been incredibly underwhelming. Brees had the great pop week 1 and then just been MIA. Maybe it's more a play calling issue. Lazard, $44 million. Make some plays, man. He had a couple of, he bobbled that one against Buffalo, ultimately reeled it in. A couple of those. Randall Cobb with the drop, wide open. Like, dude. And then he had the chance at the Hail Mary. Obviously, that would have been amazing and we'd have a different tenor, I'm sure, on this show. But, these guys are just not making plays. Ultimately, if we're going to boil it down to something, playmakers got to make plays. You got to help out the quarterback. If the quarterback's struggling, go make a play. Get the ball in your hands and freaking do something with it. So that sucked. Brutal. Did not like. No likey. And then, like I said, defense, they didn't have a pass rush for a majority of the game. And I'm like, here's the thing. I get sometimes quotes get taken out of context, but DJ Reed said this defense had the potential to be the 1985 Chicago Bears of the Legion of Boom. Like, the Legion of Boom and like think Cowboys Micah Parsons, even on that level. Like every play, he is blowing up things. Like who's blowing up things? Quentin had a few of those kind of moments, a scary moment where he's taken out of the game, comes back in. But like, we're the game wreckers. We're the people saying, "Oh hell no, we're about to do something." Again, they gave up one touchdown. I'm not trying to nitpick here, but for Pete's sake, where was the pass rush the entire game, man? Non-existent. Let me see. What was the final numbers here? Yeah, Mac wasn't sacked a single time. How about that, Jets defense? You didn't sack him a friggin' single time. Come on, man. By the way, Mac Jones is a douche. He punched Sauce in the junk. What the hell? Not cool, man. What a weirdo that guy is. What a friggin' weirdo. Sick. Disgusting. That's what I'm saying. Absolutely disgusting. Zeke going prime Zeke. It was 80 yards, 5 yards a clip. Ramondre Stevenson had a couple of moments. Terrible. Just terrible. No sacks from the defense. No turnovers. Like, come on, man. What are we doing here? What are we friggin' doing here? All right, we got the okay, that guy disappeared. We've had Jersey Jet a few times kind of hanging in there. So Jersey Jet, feel free to hop in wherever you're watching. We can try to get you on the show. See you guys in the green room. Again, the Cam 631 laser hotline is available to anyone that would like to pop in on the show. It's a video product, so I prefer if you have the camera on, if you can, on both YouTube and Facebook. Both of those links are up. On Facebook, it is the top comment. On YouTube, it is the pinned comment. If you'd like to click and join us, vent, share your takes, whatever you'd like. It's all open for that. Zach, or excuse me, Kuka, making more excuses for Zach Boygren. No, I'm not making an excuse for anything. I know people are going to be kind of coming in and out of the live stream, so I will reiterate my point. Zach looked awful today. And I'm just now just discussing other parts of the game. No, he was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And no last second 2-minute drive is going to make me wildly go, well, there was something there. No, there was no moral cookies being served on this show. Absolutely not. I am not serving those. It's unacceptable. Like Garrett said it in the ESPN interview last week. It's inexcusable to lose 14 times, now 15 times in a row to a single opponent. Where's your pride? Where's your dignity? Where's your rallying the troops? Guys, what the hell? And then for the Jets offense to show up last second, and then it just made me more frustrated. Like, where was this the rest of the game? We were all there. Make a play. So no, Zach Wilson is awful, and so that was difficult. That was difficult. Okay, I think we have Jersey Jet here now, so let me get him on the show. Jersey Jet joining us here from the car. What's up, Jersey?
Hey, Paul. I just gotta say I'm a huge fan.
I appreciate that, man.
And I don't know if you saw. I know we're getting to the part where it's like, we don't want to mention these things, but like I did see Connor Hughes tweet something. He mentioned as like a food for thought that it was very similar to back in day. I don't know if you saw that tweet when Quincy and Inwell was mad back in the day and they made the play calling change. He proposed that eventually, if we're not doing well, maybe Salah has to look at Downing to call the plays.
Interesting. He seems to have a lot of buzz. I didn't ever get a chance to tweet out the clip, but Zach Wilson, when he was asked about Todd Downing, all of a sudden he like lit up in the middle of this interview. He goes, I freaking love Todd Downing. One of the best coaches I've ever worked with. Aaron Rodgers has spoken glowingly of Todd Downing, and so have a couple of the offensive players. So yeah, Hackett also did it when he had struggles in Denver. I believe he gave up those offensive play calling to some others in the room. So he has done that before. He's open to it. And the Jets, in theory, have a very capable guy in Todd Downing, who's been around the league for a long time, most recently with the Tennessee Titans. So I did not see that tweet until you just mentioned that. But hey, again, the Jets are going to have to consider all options. I don't think someone brought it up earlier about Hackett potentially being fired. I don't see that because, again, Aaron Rodgers coming back, and I also think there's a longer leash. But the Todd Downing is a really good point, Jersey.
Yeah, and I think we're just such in a tough situation where it's like it's like you said earlier. It's just you can't. If you pull the strings you pull the cord on the kid, then he's not coming back ever again. It's done.
Yeah.
His career's done in New York. So it's like, but at the same time, it's like, it's tough seeing Garrett mad. It's tough seeing all these players mad and the fans are upset. Like, it just seems like it's so weird. And, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I think I think today it's fair to say that Zach just didn't play well. 4 seconds, I think, a few times he had 4 or 5 seconds to throw the ball. Aaron Rodgers would have threw that ball right away. And he's just holding on too long. And that's, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. It's really rough. We are down like pretty bad right now.
Yes. Yes, we are. And again, on September 24th, I did not anticipate having this conversation with you, Jersey, here on the show. Again, my hype, my expectations, all my positive juices were heading in a different direction. So to hear all of this kind of chatter and to the point on Zach Wilson, man, he ate so many sacks in this game because he just held onto the ball too damn long. I think ultimately, let me double check the numbers. Zach Wilson, he was sacked 3 times this game, one of them resulting in a safety, and he had checkdowns. Like, just take it. He had Garrett Wilson on the drag. He had Allen Lazard on the drag. Like, those are easy plays in theory on the play design. Just get the ball in your playmaker's hands. You don't have to think. You know your progression. So there he is, boop, and let you get the ball in the playmaker's hands and let them do things. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, Zach was not able to connect there. So, but if you pull him, so again, whether you can't right now, like Tim Boyle, come on, man, Tim Boyle. We're talking about getting Tim Boyle on the field, like for God's sakes, that's disgusting. But if you want to go out and go get a guy outside of this room, we mentioned the Wentz and Matt Ryan, those rumors apparently earlier this morning. If you go for one of those, maybe. But as soon as you do that, as soon as you pull the plug, it's over. You can't go back to Zach Wilson outside of injury. So I'm sure that's weighing on the Jets' minds for once they make this decision, it's over. And they've also mentioned the Aaron Rodgers influence. He's supposed to rejoin the team next week. And obviously he has a special relationship with Zach. So maybe all that's factoring in as well.
Yeah. And also 2 more things. One thing I will say, I know Garrett was a little upset, and that's why I'm a little loose on Hackett because, he tried – wherever you moved him, Garrett, I don't know if you paid attention, 6 was falling most of the time. So,
Gonzalez, the rookie,
I don't know what much more, Garrett, I know Garrett's definitely upset maybe that he felt like he wasn't utilized, but I'm sure, I don't know, I was watching, at least from what I saw, maybe there's some snaps that they had the slot corner on him a lot, but it looked like 6 was just traveling everywhere. Gonzalez was just like everywhere.
And shout out to the kid real quick. Like, Garrett hit him with this beautiful whip route, which most corners would have been jockstrap aisle 6, and he was right on his ass. And Zach Wilson, the ball ultimately got deflected. He still tried to throw it. He was right on him in a situation where normally he would create separation, which is one of Garrett Wilson's greatest traits as a wide receiver, is creating separation with his elusiveness and his wiggliness as a route runner. That was not there. So Gonzalez was in his bag all friggin' night. And he was shadowing him, it seemed. I don't have the analytics in front of me yet. I don't know when those will become available, but it seemed like he was in him for most of the night. And every once in a while, they got him matched on on a quick rotation, quick snap, throw it out there. A couple of times you got him like almost off the line of scrimmage. They were able to get him involved there a little bit. But yeah, that Gonzalez kid, I heard a lot of hype all week, and I'm like, well, let's see what the kid has. And he's faced A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, now Garrett Wilson, his first 3 career games. A lot of props to that young man.
Who do you think they look at? You think they let him Zach Wilson ride for one more week and kind of take it from there?
Yeah, because now they could have brought in a quarterback. Obviously, Rodgers got hurt September 11th. So you had that week heading into Cowboys and then this week heading into New England. So, and now you'll have a quote unquote regular week. Jets playing at 1:00 and then they have their full game heading into the next week. I imagine they're going to add a quarterback this week, but they also seem to be willing to do the due diligence. What I mean by that is they don't want to bring some guy in. If you're going to bring Carson Wentz in or Matt Ryan, I don't think you're going to bring in some intermediate guy like, Chad Henne, who rejected them, but you bring in Chad Henne and then you're like, nah, actually we want to get an even more serious guy to compete with Zach. So you can't start bringing all these guys in. So I think they're going to continue to ride with Zach with Aaron Rodgers coming back next week and try to see if that helps his immediate coaching presence, which I'm sure is not going to please a lot of Jet fans in our comments. But I think they're going to ride it at least one more week. And if it's absolutely horrible against the Chiefs, I think that's when they say, okay, let's start exploring serious options outside the building, like those big names, because I don't think those guys are coming in here to be a backup. I think they're coming in to be a starter. And then, like we've talked about before, then it's over, the plug is pulled. So I think it's at least one more week in my mind.
Got it. Yeah, that's what makes sense. It sucks for me to even think of that, but it's the most logical thing, right? Like you can't if you're gonna make that move, like, and you have to like make sure, like, I'm sure Joe Douglas.
We're losing you, Jersey. We're losing you. I don't know. All right, I'll try to take you out and bring you back in real quick. Jersey, you still there? Hello? We lost you. Sorry about that, Jersey. But yeah, thank you so much for the kind words. Thanks for popping up and joining the show. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. I think we lost your signal in the middle of that drive, but nonetheless, everybody, feel free. We'll be on here for a few more minutes. I'll dive through some more comments, but a couple of things off what he said. I think Zach Wilson gets another week, which will be against the Chiefs. Again, I feel like here's the funky territory that we're at here on the Zach Wilson thing. That you don't want to bring in a body just for the sake of an extra body. Like, the Jets are really carefully thinking about this, bringing in a quarterback that fits the locker room and all this stuff. And all the quarterbacks they've talked to, they've given them the same pitch. Hey, we want to bring you in, but you're clearly the backup. This is not a competition. This is not nothing. So to completely flip the script and answer a call from Matt Ryan, to answer a call from Carson Wentz, all of a sudden you are completely flipping on your narrative, which again, I think the Jets want to give the benefit of the doubt to Zach. They want Aaron Rodgers to come back in the building to help try to make some of those moves. So I feel like he's going to get at least another week, and maybe they'll take it all the way through the bye, which, by the way, is week 7. That would be 3 more games of Zach Wilson. That would be week 4 against Kansas City Chiefs. That's a home game. Week 5 on the road against the Denver Broncos. Week 6 at home against the Eagles. And then week 7 bye, you come out of the bye, you face the Giants in week 8. Now, again, there is a chance, as someone brought up earlier, you could be 1-5 if all hell breaks loose, and then you go into the bye, and maybe there's just not enough realistic time to bring in a notable quarterback to try to flip the season around. So you're in funky territory because it's a fine line. You don't want the season to get lost, but as Robert Saleh said earlier, they think it's still very early in the season, so you don't even have to think about some of those kind of conversations. So it's a very difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing. And that's something I brought up earlier. Anthony asked the question, who out there is better than what we have now, though, I'm assuming at the quarterback position. Now, most of the names we floated out there are not better. I've talked about from the difference between the word consequential and inconsequential differences at the quarterback position. Now, you all have to ask yourself a serious question. Is Matt Ryan and or Carson Wentz a consequential difference over Zach Wilson? I don't know. At this stage, Matt Ryan's 1,000. Okay, it's like 37 or something. So he's old as hell. And then Carson Wentz has been kicked off every team he's been on over the last 3 weeks. So, or 3 years rather. Why is that? Joe Douglas has a relationship with Carson Wentz. So if he wanted him, he could have brought him in yesterday. I think it's kind of a red flag that he hasn't brought him in yet. Like, if he thought Carson Wentz was this great fit, wouldn't he have already brought him in? Probably. But he hasn't. And he knows him better than any of us. That to me is a concern. Ronald says, I'm betting money Zach will be horrible against the Chiefs. I hope not, but I'm sure you're not getting really good odds on that since he has only looked bad so far. Motivated T, you're a fool if you think Zach Wilson's starting next week. Well, Motivated T, I'd love to hear who you believe is starting at quarterback. I would love to hear. Do you think they're going to sign like a Carson Wentz or Matt Ryan tomorrow and then booyah, that guy's the starter? It seems unlikely. Like, you would have to probably sign that guy like tonight, digital fax over the playbook and say, hey, start getting this thing. You're the start. Like, man, that's a lot of moving pieces. I get it on Madden. Oh, man, let me get a new guy in here. Let me get that guy in here. It's easier on Madden, and then you control the quarterback. It's just not that easy. It takes guys a while to learn the playbook. That's just the facts. And then the chemistry. Matt Ryan knows nobody on this team. Carson Wentz knows no one on this team. He doesn't know Garrett Wilson. He doesn't have any chemistry with Garrett Wilson. That's got to be developed over time. So again, that is quite a difficult task that I don't think a lot of people realize. Anthony on Facebook. I almost feel for our young superstars who are practically, quote, wasting their second year with Zach Wilson. Breaks my heart, honestly. Yeah, I mean, Garrett Wilson thought he was going to be catching passes from Aaron Gastard, Rodgers. Breece Hall is super talented, and Zach Wilson's not helping them get the football. And again, Zach Wilson's been terrible. I'm not making excuses for him. And Nathaniel Hackett hasn't been great. There's been a lot of bad, centered obviously around Zach Wilson. So, man, this is difficult. This is difficult. Should have kept Mike White, Robert Bianchi, maybe, but like Mike White also had his own fair share of issues at the end. So, I'm not surprised he didn't come back. How come we don't hold the defense accountable? I mean, they give up one broken play, which I highlighted earlier. It was a busted coverage. They gave up one touchdown. They allowed technically 15 points, but really 13 points because Zach Wilson gave him 2 on a silver platter. I mean, 13 points. You should win most games in an NFL season if you're giving up 13 points. So hold the defense accountable. They have not been the 1985 Chicago Bears, but hold them accountable. I'm holding everybody accountable. Everyone is accountable. There's no bias here. Everyone is accountable for their actions. So I can say that pretty confidently. I've not seen who's won any games doing this post-game show immediately after. It looks like Arizona's up, and it's the third quarter if this is updated. Let me take another peek here. I'll take a peek at the NFL scoreboard. Oh, no, it's late in the fourth quarter. Oh, my God. The Cardinals up 28-16 on the Cowboys. Wow. Well, you never know in this business. You never friggin' know. That is crazy. Chiefs blowing up the Bears. Seahawks beating the Panthers. I don't want to be too... whatever the word is, to, giving you guys old news. But, yeah, there you go. Unbelievable. Yeah, so Arizona looks like they're winning by multiple scores. But I've not been watching the game. I've been on here. But interesting nonetheless. All right, everybody. Wild game, and the Jets lose. Terrible. Absolutely god-awful. Well, thanks for joining us on this post-game show. This was great. It was great for you guys to get involved in the Cam 631 Laser hotline. And by the way, I'll show you guys. We got a couple of these packages going out. So look at this. New York Jets license plate, custom engraved pens. We got keychains, boy green stuff. So we'll be giving this out, a lot of this gear. Make sure you guys are tuned into the channel. It's a brand new sponsor on the show, Cam 631 Laser. So make sure you guys are tuned into the channel. Here. Refocus the camera here. That we're, there we are. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to be doing a lot of giveaways, New York Jets giveaways. So keep supporting the channel. Make sure you guys like the video if you're watching live or even after the fact, and hit subscribe down below for more New York Jets content. We are live after every single game. Like, think about next week, Sunday Night Football. We're going to be live at like 2 a.m. But that's what we do, baby. That's what we friggin' do. It's a rough one, no question about it, but we're going to buckle the chin strap and we'll be back. I'll be back live tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. for Boy Green Daily. I'll be on with Matt O'Leary, so make sure you guys pop up for that, either live or after the fact. The audio is also available wherever you get your podcast at Boy Green Daily. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Tough loss for the Jets. They lose 15-10 and 15-game losing streak against the New England Patriots. Disgusting. What do they do next at quarterback? We're going to discuss that on tomorrow morning's show. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you next time.